Hi, this is Heather Picken, and welcome to the Woman on Fire Entrepreneur Podcast. How to break through anything, become unstoppable, and be profitable. Learn how to align your mind. Yeah, I call that activating your money mojo. Market to your ideal clients and make money doing what you love. Tired of struggling and trying to figure things out? Do you tend to stop when things get tough? Well, I'm here to steer the ship out of the sea of overwhelm so that you can attract money and success in your business now. Grab your favorite beverage, let's fire it up, get inspired, and live life at your highest potential. Here's Heather with her co-host Chihuahua, Frankie Lee. Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Woman on Fire Entrepreneur. And I am always on fire and excited to bring you guests all around the world to help you not only to build your business, but to give you the mental support, the spiritual support, and of course, your self-care support. And that's why I have my guest today, Ava Laura Beharry. I know I was practicing that 10 times before we started this interview. So Ava Laura, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you so much for having me. I love it. Women on Fire. Let's go.
We're going to take over. And I know, like as being a woman, gosh, there's like so many things like having a business and
Yes.
really, I find, and I'm sure you find this to be true, like we neglect ourselves, when it comes to taking care of ourselves. So we're going to be talking about that. But before we go into that, I was wondering if you could share with our viewers, and for those people that are watching us for the first time or listening, we're broadcasting on 2 platforms, so you can listen to us on iTunes. You can also go over to heatherpicken.com, and we are on video. So you will see me waving both hands right now. Okay, so Ava Laura, please tell me a little bit about how you help people.
Absolutely. When I talk about that, a lot of times people ask me about my story, like, how did you become a life coach and intuitive consultant? And, just a little bit about me, a little over 10 years ago, I was a social worker. I was a program director at an outpatient mental health clinic. I was burned out. I was stressed out. I was miserable, the whole nine. I was, working in a very toxic environment. And I found myself, instead of really helping people to change their lives and helping people to heal, which is what I went to school for, which is what I dedicated my life to, I was really helping people simply to just maintain their dysfunction. I realized I was just playing small. I had bought into the vision of my boss and what he wanted. And so I was so consumed with running the business, how he wanted, what he wanted, that I was losing myself in the process.
Wow.
And so really, what happened for me was that I got to a point where I really got sick and tired of being sick and tired, where I literally just couldn't take it anymore, where I was like, God, something has to happen or I'm going to go postal. You were going to find me like one of those people on the TV, like, what happened? This woman just went around, I didn't know what was going to happen. And so I ended up going on this weekend retreat. It was a weekend retreat with women, and I got back to myself, and I just got back to doing yoga and meditation and praying and just being in nature and just taking time out for me. And I literally had one of those moments where I was just like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know that I can't live life like this anymore. This is just not going to work anymore. And I prayed about it. It was one of those, boo-hoo, tears and the whole nine. And I went to work, back to work on Monday morning, and my boss called me into his office and he fired me.
Wow.
Just out of the blue. And at first I was, not happy, to say the least. Ego was a little upset. I had never been fired before from a job. And when I do something, I'm all in, I'm fully committed. And so I just couldn't believe that happened to me. But then Spirit kind of kicked in and said, Ava Laura, this is an answered prayer. Like, now you get to do what you want to do. but I kind of had to figure out what I wanted to do. Right? You know, I had bits and pieces of it, but I didn't have it all together. And so really I took 6 months, you know, I took a good 6 months and I dedicated it to me, getting back to me. Who am I? Why am I here? What is this all about? What, you know, what is life about? And what was it that I wanted to do in the first place? You know, why did I go into that social work route in the first place? How do I really want to help people? And then 6 months later, I founded my company, Ava Laura's Healing Center. And ever since, I have been helping people to truly just, not just talk about, you know, what are your dreams and how to live your dreams, but really giving you a step-by-step plan and course of action, and really helping you to move from a place of whole to wholeness in your life, in your relationships, your business, your career, whatever it is that you need. So that is what I do. You know, I help people who were just like me, who were suffering in silence, who had big dreams, who knew that there was more that they could do, but they just simply couldn't figure out how to do it alone. They needed help. And so I'm that safe space. You know, I'm the place where they go to, like, Ava Laura, this is not working. I need help. Please, child, help me out. You know, my clients are like, help me. What do I do? So that is what I do. That's really how I help my clients. And, you know, I love talking about this topic because most of my clients are women. And they are women on fire. And what happens is when you're on fire, you burn yourself out.
That is true.
You burn yourself out. You know, you're just doing too much. We have all these ideas, all these things that we want to do because we want to show up big in the world. And so we're all over the place, scattered all over. And it's just, okay, we need a time out. Let's take a time out. Let's get back to center. What is it that you really want to do? And is what you're doing right now helping you to get where you really want to go? Or are you just doing it because somebody told you you had to do it, or you think that's what's supposed to be done? Or, you know, what is the real reason? Let's get back to you.
I love that. And I really find, and I'm sure you probably find this to be true, is that there is so much noise out there. People are getting pulled in all different directions and not allowing themselves to go inward and really quiet their mind. So do you have some kind of process that you help people through that will kind of allow themselves to, number one, value themselves? Because I know for women, especially if they have family, they're the caretakers, they're putting themselves last.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of what I talk about is making a soulful self-care shift. And the reason that I say that is because it is a shift. It's a shift up here. Because so many of us, we hear it all the time. Yeah, I know I need to take care of myself. Yeah, I know I need to get more sleep. But unfortunately, what happens is that we don't really value that. We don't really do that until something bad happens. You know, Oprah talks about, you know, the whisper and the pebble and the brick, you know, right? And a lot of times we wait for the brick to be thrown at us, you know, before, not the whisper, not when it's just like a little red flags, like, okay, you know, your energy's a little drained. Maybe you need to sleep more. No, we keep going. But then that break happens, you get sick, right? Maybe you get laid off, something happens in your business, and then you're like, oh, well, now I have no choice. So it's making a shift up here, really, and understanding that you really do have to be first, because there's nothing without you. There's no life, there's no world, there's nothing without you. So if you're constantly putting yourself last, understanding that the world is going to put you last. Everybody else is going to put you last. If you're not valuing yourself, nobody else is going to value you. And so you teach and you train people how to treat you in the world. So when you show up as a woman on fire, putting yourself first, things so much easily come to you because that energy resonates. People feel that, they sense that, they know that, and they say, you know what, I'm going to take her seriously.
I love that. And I would imagine this all speaks to a lot of times people think, or women in particular, think that they have to be working really hard in order to get momentum. And, oh my gosh, if I have like a 5-hour window of time where I'm not doing anything, then I'm not being productive, because that was the belief system and I'm usually, you know, running 5 million miles an hour, right? That's like the mindset that a lot of women have adopted today.
Absolutely. It's really interesting because what happens is, I see this all the time. It's just like, well, Ava Laura, it's the weekend, but I feel bad if I don't work. I feel like I'm not, especially I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, and okay, well, I feel like I'm not doing anything if I'm not working on my business. And there's this whole, team no sleep, and, you got to grind and you got to hustle. And, you go on Facebook and people are up at 3 a.m. talking about, hey, who's up with me working? I'm not, I'm sleeping. And so there's this whole culture, this whole mentality. You're absolutely right. You got to be grinding, hustling. And if you're not doing anything. But I say, if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not doing anything, because eventually it's going to come to a halt. And you're going to need me now, or you're going to need me later, but you're going to need me because you're going to be flat out on your back. There's only so much team no sleep you can do. This whole, I'm going to sleep when I die. No, you're not sleeping when you're dead. You're dead. It's over, and so it really is, so a lot of it is kind of tuning out all those distractions and what we're hearing culturally and, what everybody's telling us. And again, that's why I said it's soulful self-care, but getting back to what do I need? Because some people can function on 5 hours of sleep, but I need 8.
Right.
But I know that about myself because I'm trying 5 hours. It doesn't work. So what is it that you need? So part of that is really kind of working with your own self and saying, okay, let me get back to me and what works for me. Some people can eat 3 big meals a day, but I might like to eat 5 small meals a day. Some people like to take baths every day or take showers in the morning. I like to take my showers at night. So what is it that works for you? It's these really simple things that you can start to look at, that what makes me happy? What makes me feel good when I do them? Not because everybody said I'm supposed to do it, but I like it. It works for me.
I love that. So really tuning into that inner voice when it comes to self-care, to say, oh, I really want to go to the park or read a book, or I know for me, it's like going to the coffee shop. Like that's where my self-care takes place because I'm just in my zone. I'm in like a good vibe. So would you recommend the most critical, because I see a lot of women out there that are working themselves to the bone, and especially if they have a family, they have kids that they're taking care of, and they're just not having a roadmap. They're not valuing themselves like you were talking about. And, would you also recommend in this whole kind of self-care process that they meditate? Because I know some people do not like meditation just simply because it's hard for them to get really relaxed and focus on something, kind of like allow their mind to, just wander.
Absolutely. Yeah. I actually teach meditation, and I teach it a lot. I actually just came back from a conference, 7 a.m. I was teaching morning meditation. And it was so interesting because when they put the conference together, they said, well, Ava Laura, the sessions literally ran from like 9 in the morning to like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. They said, Ava Laura, I don't know if people are going to get up at 7 a.m. to do meditation, but that was the only block that they had. And I said, I'll just do it and I'll see who shows up. And I had about 15, 20 students every day. People showed up, and I was really happy about that because they realized they needed it. And so much, they showed up so much that they had me scheduled for Thursday and Friday. The students were like, well, can I come back Saturday? And I said, well, they don't have me on schedule Saturday. So I actually had a class on Saturday as well for them. So meditation is extremely important. And actually one of my students there, she really had this release. On the 3rd day, she had this release where literally during the meditation, she started crying. And it was because in that moment, she actually realized how much she was putting herself last. I mean, it wasn't from an intellectual standpoint, but she literally had an experience where she felt it internally and she started to release it, and she just started crying. She couldn't contain it. So I absolutely recommend meditation. I have a wonderful meditation. I recommend that it's guided. Because if you're just kind of sitting there, a lot of people say, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of just focusing on my breathing, or I have a mantra. If you're new to meditation, I highly recommend that you have a guided meditation. So that way you can just listen and tune into the voice and do with whoever the teacher is who's guiding you. Just do what they tell you to do.
I love that. And do you find as you're taking people through the meditation process, or just in general, that it opens up the new pathways or doorways or channels or, pathways for opportunities like, maybe creativity, or if we're talking about business, attracting new clients? Like, how important do you think it is for that in and of itself?
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, my favorite combination, I mean, I am a life coach, and I love the combination with the coaching and the meditation because I'm very much internal and external. And so I love it. People need to have ideas. They need to bounce their ideas off. They need a safe space. They need a place to go when their world is kind of crazy, when, you know, they don't know what to do. But then they also need a space where they can go internally and listen within. And then through that process, that's what the meditation really is giving you that quiet space, that silence to kind of just surrender into yourself. And all of those things that are buried in, just kind of dig them out. And then the coaching process just kind of furthers that now we can talk about what you experienced and what you discovered, and we can build on that.
I love that. What do you find are some of the biggest mistakes that women are making, you know, when it comes to really taking care of themselves?
Whew. Well, we don't have that much time, but, you know, but really the mistake is that, you know, you kind of hit on it. You know, I like the analogy when we talk about water, you know, what a powerful force water is without even trying. You know, water can build, it can destroy, you know, it's beautiful. We naturally like to be around water. It's peaceful, all of these different qualities, but it doesn't try, it just is. And so a lot of times I think for women, we don't take the time to just discover who we are. You know, just being who you are, because when you're in the essence of who you are, when you're in the flow of who you are, you don't have to try. You simply just are. You know, especially women in leadership, what happens is we feel like we have to be so powerful and we have to be rah, 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 and this bravado, and we have to be like a man. And no, you can be soft and feminine and pink and be powerful just by your very presence, just by being tuned into who you are and exuding that. People sense that, they feel that, and they say, who is that? You know, you can have that beautiful, wonderful, quiet water presence. And so a lot of times we're burning ourselves out because we're just doing way too much. We're not surrendering to our nature. We're not just being cool. We're not being water. We're not being calm. We're not just sitting back in that, this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be. And I don't have to shout it from the rooftops. I can sit right here and people will know it.
I love that. You know, to me, I think it's really about being in that place of receiving, because I think a lot of women, they don't know how to receive. We're so used to giving of our time, giving of ourselves, where we really need to kind of relearn that or unlearn the bad habits.
Yeah, because we didn't learn it. Our mothers didn't teach us. Our grandmothers didn't teach us. Yeah, we didn't learn it. And so we really don't even know. And a lot of times it creeps up in ways that we just don't even realize. You know, I had a client just the other day. She was saying she didn't have money for something, but she spent $200 on her dog's medication. I said, so you mean to tell me your dog is more important than you? And she didn't even think about it. Like, it didn't even dawn on her. Her dog needed it. She just did it. But when it came to her, oh no, I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, you know, you've got a higher value on your animals than yourself.
Yes, and it just didn't dawn on her. And so we do that all the time. So it sneaks up in all these ways that we don't even realize, because we're just so used to things being a certain way, we don't think outside of that. And when somebody else says it, it's like, oh, yeah, I never thought about it like that.
Absolutely. So, yeah. And that's why I think it's also important as women to really know who we are. I think most people just in general don't really know who they are. And so what happens is they inject the values of other people. They start subordinating to so-called authority figures. And then they're wondering, like, where did my life go and whose life am I living anyways?
That's exactly it. I mean, that is that is typically my client. You know, they're overachievers, and so they've done a lot. And so what happens is when you've accomplished a lot, you kind of feel like you've done a lot, even though what you've accomplished may not be in tune or in alignment with who you really are. And so what happens a lot of times is like, April, I've gotten the degrees. You know, they were like, I got the degrees. You know, I might have the husband, I have the house and all this stuff, but I'm not happy. Like, I just want to paint, or I want to write. Right. You know, or I just want to teach, or, you know, whatever it is, but they're in this career, because somebody told them to do it or because they are good at it. They have a talent at it, but it's not who they are. It doesn't speak to their soul. It's not what the legacy that they want to leave. And so what happens is they realize that they're unfulfilled because they're not operating in their truth. And they never took that time to figure out what that was.
I love that. Ava Laura, this has been absolutely amazing. And I know this is going to help so many women out there that are going, yeah, that's me. That's me. And they may want to reach out to you for some help. So where can they learn more about you and your work?
Absolutely. So I am Googleicious. You can find me all over. And there's only one Ava Laura, so you don't have to worry. You just type in AVALAURA. I am going to come up. Avalaura.com is my website, and I'm all over social media, so you can find me everywhere. And I'm, very down to earth and personable. So all you got to do is reach out. Hey, Ava Laura, and I will talk to you. So reach out, and I will be happy to help you. And also for any viewers who are watching this, I would love to gift you with a complimentary 20-minute consultation. So if you contact me, you can email me at avalaura@avalaura.com, and we can talk, and we can just see what's going on in your world and what's happening and how I can assist you.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ava Laura, for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me.
And I want to thank all of our listeners. And please, I've got a big favor out there. If you could do 3 things, if you could rate, review, and subscribe to the show, because that is going to help more women out there that are on fire, that have a big purpose and mission, and they want to play on a bigger scale. So please do that. Take Ava Laura up on her session, and there's going to be a link below in those show notes that you can also go to her website there. Okay, everyone, until next time, this is Heather Picken. Take care. So if you found this show to be helpful, please hashtag WOFE, that stands for Woman on Fire Entrepreneur, and subscribe to this show in iTunes and leave me a review. I want to know how these shows have helped you. I also want to know the number one thing that you're struggling with the most in your business. Every week, I give away complimentary sessions to help you get it clear on your next steps and to activate your money mojo. You can learn more about my work if you go to www.heatherpicken.com.